Hello, welcome to satsang, everybody. Hi. We will start today with a Sabbath by Nisa, My Heart Thirsts for Your Vision. Then we have a talk by Michael and a talk by Vises, Anurag Sagar. Then we have 5 minutes of meditation and Master's YouTube talk, and then we will have group meditation with love and devotion. Thank you so much. We can start.
Radha Swami, today's hymn is by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Here Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, "My heart thirsts for your vision. In detachment, I feel peace and bliss. I long for the lotus feet of my beloved. The wretched messenger of death can no longer trouble me. With your grace only, I can behold your vision. All diseases are destroyed by meditating upon your name. Death gives so much pain to others, but it cannot come near your devotee. Hear this prayer of Nanak. Please infuse your name in his heart. दरस तेरे की प्यास मन लागी सहज आनंद बसे बैरागी चरण कमल की आस प्यारे जम कंकर नस गए विचारे दरस तेरे की प्यास मन लागी सहज आनंद बसे बैरागी तू चित आवे तेरी माया सिमरत नाम सगल रोग खाया दरस तेरे की प्यास मन लागी सहज आनंद बसे बैरागी अनेक दुख देव है अवरा का पहुँच न सके जन तेरे का दरस तेरे की प्यास मन लागी सहज आनंद बसे बैरागी नानक की अरदास सुनीजे केवल नाम हृदय में दीजे नानक की अरदास सुनीजे केवल नाम हृदय में दीजे दरस तेरे की प्यास मन लागी सहज आनंद बसे सहज आनंद बसे बैरागी. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord. Radha Swami.
Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord, for Sister Nisha. Wow, that is a beautiful, beautiful shabd of Guru Arjan Dev. Thank you so much for your precious seva, your godly voice, and this shabd with Master's pictures just filled our eyes with divinity. Thank you so much, Sister Nisha. And Anoop, thank you for the Guru Arjan's shabds in the morning. They really vibrate us. And in the shabd, it was saying that Guru Arjan in his shabd is saying that he dug a deep pit and buried his egotistical pride, his attachments, his emotional attachments, and all his desires. And when that happens, when all the worldly desires, the ego self, and the attachments are buried, he became friends to all. Everybody became his friend, and he had no enemies. He became pure love. Baba Sawan Singh says, and that was from my sister Tina. She sent me this yesterday, and it said, where is it? Let me read it word by word. And it said, if the mind could throw away worldly desires this moment, the soul would go up like a shot instantaneously. This is from the great master Baba Sawan Singh. So if the soul just throws away all its desires in a moment, the soul would go up like a shot instantaneously. And that means go up means in awareness. It, it goes beyond the mind, as whatever holds us in this world is just our desires and our attachments. That puts the curtain between us and the Lord. This thick curtain is our desires and our attachments. And we have created so many desires and so many attachments from this life and from the past lives. And we hold on to them. We hold on to them. And they are the barriers between us and God. And the saints, all the saints, have conquered all these desires and all these attachments and put them in a deep pit and covered them with the cover, covered them with Nam and love, with the holy light and the holy sound. And if this happens, this is all what all of us are really, really, really yearning for, is to just get rid of all these desires that really lead to nothing. It's like the saints say, like the desires of this world is just like trying to squeeze juice out of a dry date pit, trying to squeeze juice out of a dry date pit. This is all the enjoyments of this world and the desires of this world, that they don't lead to nothing. Rumi, oh yeah, there is a beautiful poem from Rumi. I should read it. And he is saying that that he equates the desires of this world as falling in love with an old witch that has bald head because she forgot to put her wig, and she has filthy legs that have bracelets on them. And he is cautioning us in his poem and saying, falling in love with this world is like falling in love with this witch, with this witch. Actually, actually, on the path of love, on the path of love, Master will show us once we, because Master teaches us every second that we are in the human world. If we are sitting in his boat, then everything becomes a lesson. All the circumstances in our life become a lesson, and the lesson is not just from inside, but is also from the outside. So if we have like a desire, if like suppose we have a desire for the body of somebody, like either a man or a woman, that we have a desire due to our lust or something. And then you sit in meditation, and Master will show you what's in that body, what what is hidden in that body, what's behind that skin and bones that we are so attracted to, and what's lying inside the body. And he will show you, like when we are attracted to the bodies of the people who are not connected with God, what's in them, what's in those bodies. And when you see what's in those bodies, really the reality of who is living in that body, Master will show you from inside. He will remove the body and show you who's sitting inside that body. You will pick up your bags, you will run fast and fast and fast, and like, oh my God, oh my God, that's what's lying inside that body. And it's like a big, horrible devil. He will show you the face of that devil or that entities that live there. And you will be surprised. You will be like, you will be horrified. Oh my God, this is what I want to go and hold and kiss and cuddle with or whatever. Oh my God, no, no, let me run away. He will show us, really, he will show us what, what, what we, he will teach us moment by moment that the reality is inside. The reality is inside of us, that everything l- is hiding within us. All the treasures of God and the kingdom of God are inside of us. Yesterday, I had a woman who came in my car, and she asked me, "Who are these people?" And I said, "These are my holy fathers." That's all I said. That's all I said. These are my holy fathers. They are saints that came in my life. I didn't say anything more. And then she started bawling. She started crying and crying and crying. And she's like, "Sorry, sorry, I don't know why I'm crying." And I'm like, "No, I know why you are crying. You know, it's your soul. Your soul touched the essence of God, touched the divinity, and that's why you are bawling. That's why you are crying. It's just her soul. It was the cry of the soul that she has been in this world. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know that everything is within her. She doesn't know why she was going to a tanning salon. She is caring about her body, but her soul from within is deeply crying because she's suffering. She is suffering. Anybody who is disconnected from the holy light and sound, they are deeply suffering. Deeply suffering. You might see them smiling on the outside. Go live with them for a day or two. Go in their family. Live with them. You might have also experienced that maybe your cousins or who are doctors and rich from the outside or who have great jobs and who have families, and they invited you to go stay with them. And that happened to me. And then you go and stay with them for 2 3 days, and then you will see that they are fighting all the time, that they are in chaos, their children are in chaos, their life is not in harmony, and it's like a misery. It's like a miserable life. And I see it in all the families around me, in all my family that are not connected with God and the kingdom of God, that they are really suffering. That the situation of the person who is not connected with the bliss of Master, with the bliss of Shabd, with the holy light, with the holy sound, and feeding his soul is like really, really, really like a fish out of water, just gasping, just trying to survive. This is the situation of the worldly people. And we were like that. We were like that before we were initiated. If we compare our life, how it was before we started drinking the nectar of the Lord inside of us, how our life was. And it was always, it's just the five enemies of the soul were taking control. We were totally under the dictates of the mind, running to fulfill the pleasures of the senses. And it was one suffering after the other because we roasted in the fires of attachment. Once we are attached to something, or we have a desire for something, once we have it, then if it is hidden away from us and it's taken away, then we go crazy. We roast in the fires of attachment because we were so attached to that person or that object. Then it was taken away from us against our will. And then when it's not there anymore, that is when we start to really, really suffer. And we have all fallen into the suffering and the attachments. We are roasted, roasted, and I even roasted, and I now learn my lesson that really to try to get enjoyments out of this world is like squeezing a dry date pit to try to get juice out of it. That's how it is. One moment of enjoyment will bring with it so much suffering, unimaginable suffering. This is how it is, the situation of this world. But when we start to go inside, and even if we have a little bliss, if the curtain is little, if we took a peek through the curtain, if we are still a patient, that the we are all patients sitting in God's hospital because we still have the unburied attachments and desires, and we still have to get rid of them. They are still with us, so we are patients in God's hospital. But sometimes the patient gets grace from the Father, from the doctor, and the curtain is a little bit removed, a little bit a peek. He gives us a peek of what lies behind the curtain. Once we get that peek, then it's like medicine. It is like medicine, and it makes us that peak, that peak within, or even just the feeling of love, or the feeling of bliss, or the feeling of ecstasy when we think of Master, when we connect with the holy light and the holy sound, is the best medicine. And it will eradicate all diseases. And the disease, the biggest disease that we have, which is we are all insane, trying to become sane. We're all insane trying to become sane. Because why? Because we're still controlled by the mind. Once the mind is controlled, then we become sane. We become sane. And until then, it is the holy light and sound that is our remedy. That is the best remedy. That is the remedy that doesn't fail, because Master is the remedy. And He is the manifestation of the holy light and the holy sound, the manifestation of divinity. And that divinity in us, people will feel it. People will feel it if it's permeating in every cell of our body. If we live in Master, we drink Master, we eat Master, and we are always in tune with Master, receptive to the Master power, that our receptivity is at the highest degree, then divinity is permeating in every cell of our body, Master is in every cell of our body. We are vibrating at the vibration of the Master, the frequency of the Master. Then people who come around us, in our midst, just few words from them, from us, just few words will directly go to their heart, will awaken their soul, will touch the soul of that person, that soul that is thirsty, that soul that is not connected to the divinity. Once it's around somebody who is charged with godly vibration, then just one word, not even a word, you don't even have to say anything, just a look, and then the soul in that person gets the vibration of the divinity, and the soul starts to their soul starts to talk to your soul, and your soul is connected with the divine soul, with the oversoul, and then that is when that soul has the deep cry to go back home, as it has felt the vibration of bliss, it has felt the vibration of the love. And and at that moment, that soul cried, that soul of the woman who came with me yesterday cried, because her soul wants to go home. Her soul has felt the true home of the Lord and wanted to go home, so she cried. And then what happens? What happens that Master Ishwarji, Santakar, and Baba Sawant Singh, they put a seed. When that soul cries, it opens itself up. It opens itself up, it's receptive. Then a seed of God is put there, a seed of divinity is put there. That seed will never be lost. Why? Because the seed went on the soul level. On the soul level, nothing is lost, and the soul is connected with divinity. On the mind level, now she knew, there was a satsang of few minutes, and then in that satsang, she was told that everything is inside you. Everything is inside you. That knowledge also goes to the mind. That the enjoyment is not outside; it is inside. Even if the mind takes over the next day, and then the whole experience is lost, it is not really lost. Really, that seed is still there, the knowledge is there, and it will resurface at the right time, at the right moment. And that soul at some point will be reconnected and will start to go within according to their level. They will meet a teacher according to their level. It might not be the perfect one, might not be the total one, but it would be a teacher that will tell them to go inside. That will be a first step of graduating religions and all the dogma of this world into something that is a step over, which is starting to go within. Starting to go within. Once we start to go within, that means we have started on the path that leads to God. It might take few lives, many lives, even if 100 lives. What's 100 lives compared to eternity? As we merge our small consciousness into the higher consciousness, into eternity. So, what is few moments here? I meant few lives here are nothing compared to the momentless moment in the kingdom of God beyond time and space. That is eternity. So no matter what, even few lives does not matter. It does not matter because there is something beyond time and space, a momentless moment. So let me read to you a couple of poems from Rumi, um, and about what I spoke about. I think, yeah, this one about the old witch. Okay, from that villa, that palace, I was dropped to the bottom of the well. I did not eat or do anything. This earth is not a place of holiday for me. I have seen its ugliness. This pale faced old whore puts red colored makeup on her face. How could makeup adorn the one whose origin is the thorn? He got pricked and hurt in each lung and foot. She forgot her wig, came out with a bald head. That blind woman was blackened, her eyebrows with cosmetics. Don't look at the bracelets on her ankles. Her legs are filthy. Dancing at night is right. If it is behind the curtain, O Sufi, who has washed his face, wash your hands of her. O one who has shaved his hair, remove her love from your heart too. How unhappy is that person who expects happiness from her, dreams, greatness, exaltation. He will be burnt like roasted meat. O beloved, O one who has created us from nothing, brought us from absence, threw us here, and plays with us, hear our cry. Save us from these indifferent people. Be silent, talk about that breath which has no end. Talk in the silence. For how long will you be using your numbered breaths for speech? Wow. So this poem is what we talked about, that he's saying that there is nothing really to love in this world, that every breath that we have should be used to find God and to find eternal happiness, that this is the truth about this world. And he described it to you how it looks like a witch. Okay, another poem. This poem really is something, you know how when you experience something and you talk out of experience, like Ishwar Puri Ji says, then it goes to the heart of the people, it catches them. So this is about fasting, and Rumi talks about the power of fasting. Fasting, like putting less in our stomach. And maybe he also means fasting from many things of this world, like the pleasures of this world. But he's talking about fasting. And I did once when I went to Costa Rica, I did 5 day of water fast. That means I just drank water all the time and did a fast of water fast for 5 days and meditated. And it was a great, great experience because on the second or third day, you lose the hunger. You're not hungry anymore. And you're just light and you can meditate. And your meditation becomes better because you're like light, you're like a feather. Plus, the fasting, like this water fast, was so good to me that it cleansed my system. It like gets all the toxins out, not only spiritually, not only is fasting good spiritually, but all the toxins of the body come out when we do a long fast. Even people who have cancer and want to get rid of cancer, they do a water fast. And they do like a pure water fast. That means distilled water, the purest water. And they do it for like 18 days. And they get rid of any disease that's in the body, including cancers. That really, water fasting really like washes the whole system out of all diseases. It's really a powerful thing. And I need to do it again. You know, my belly is growing. I'm like a pregnant woman. And after I think, after I become brave enough to do the fast, then I can talk about it and it will go into your hearts better. So first, I have to do it. But I will read the poem about the power of fasting. Even though the saints of today, they don't tell us to fast. You know, Ishwar Puri Ji or Sant Thakur Singh or Sant Kirpal Singh, they never told us to fast. They always told us, you know, eat a morsel less. Eat a morsel less, fill your stomach more with water, like eat half, and then another quarter for water, and then another quarter for air, and always leave the table a little hungry. That is what the saints of today teach. But if Rumi talked about fasting, and all the doctors and the people who know about natural medicine, they speak about the power of fasting. So there is something about it. So we can all do it, just like taking a retreat, 40-day retreat or a 1 week retreat where we just meditate. That is also harmonizes our system, gets rid of any bad habit that you have. If you do a 40-day retreat, it will go away. You can try it. You can try it. But it's hard to take a 40-day retreat because people have jobs and stuff like that. But I was blessed. I was blessed with that. I could take a 40-day retreat before, and I did many of them. And then after the retreat, you come out to the world from the ashram after you do like 40 days of meditation and seva. Oh my God, that's like a whole. It is like a whole. When you take your car to the mechanic to do an overhaul to the car and put new spark plugs and change the oils and change the tires. This is when you come out of the ashram after 40 days of meditation and seva and satsang, you come out like a new person, like a rejuvenated person. Really, people will feel that in you. You will be like so radiant with with master, divine. And the same thing, like if we all, what I'm thinking, or to do like a week of meditation, total meditation and a fast. It could be just a water fast or a fruit fast you can have, and then it's very powerful. I'm thinking about that. Once I decide to do it, I'll tell you. Maybe some people will do it with me, and it will be more powerful. And okay, so this is the poem. It says, "Close your mouth to bread. The sugar of fasting has come. You have seen the results of eating and drinking. Let's see the results of fasting this time. That sultan of 100 countries has put a crown on your head. Quick, squeeze your waist. The belt of fasting has come. Quick, squeeze your waist. The belt of fasting has come. From this world of session, fly towards. Oh, this is like words that they used a long time ago. I don't know their meaning. I should have looked. Try to obtain the eyes which see God with the eyesight of fasting. Wow, see?
Or the mouth or the nose in those experiences that we had, they all took place at the astral level in our head. The astral level and the imaginative level are the same. We think imagination is imaginary because we think the physical is real. Therefore, all the time we imagine something, we say, that's imaginary, this is real. You go there, imagination becomes real, reality. And this becomes a crude copy of that imagination. So therefore, imagination should not be taken so lightly. All imagination that we have here comes from there. And that is why, during meditation, we use this great tool of imagination to create the sense perceptions of what we want to see, what we want to do, what we want to talk, repeat, do anything. It's all done with our imaginary inner eyes, not with the physical eyes. No tension should be put on the physical eyes or on the head at all. Just out of curiosity, what do you do all day long on the higher regions? All day long, you write emails. Thinking of emails, I remember somebody sent me a cartoon of a young monk asking his master, the senior monk. He said, "Master, is it appropriate for monks to use email?" And the master says, "Yes, you can use emails so long as there are no attachments." The earth is in a processing of ascension. We as humans are having to adjust our frequencies. Can you address ascension? This is an evolutionary process. This has always been going on. And we revert to a zero state again and again, and the ascension starts. And there is an evolution of human bodies, evolution of forms of life. At the same time, there's an evolution of awareness and consciousness that goes on. And as time goes on, the ability to reach higher levels of awareness increases. At the same time, the temptations and distractions increase. Therefore, it so happens that in the various eons of life that goes on in this planet, we find that we are balanced out by less distraction, more difficult to meditate. More distractions, easier to meditate because of our higher ascended awareness. So this is a continuous cycle. It goes into several cycles which they divide as yugas. And they say there are 4 yugas through which you pass. And the earliest yuga has very few distractions. There's not much civilized living, not much civilization, no iPhones, no computers, no movies, no distractions. Very little distraction of life takes very long because of the difficulty of reaching a higher level of consciousness. And then the yuga changes and more of the outside things, distractions become easier. Today we are passing through the 4th yuga of Kali Yuga, the Iron Age. In this Iron Age, there's a maximum distractions. And there's a maximum grace of masters coming and more masters coming during this age than ever before. So it's balanced out. And this is a process that goes on. After this, we destroy everything and we start all over again. This is the nature of our life on this planet. Is it the seeker's role to follow his or her master's instruction to reach the radiant form. What role or help does the master play during the early stages of the path? In the earliest stages of the path, you recognize a master as a human being who appears to know more than you do. Period. That's what you think. And that's good enough for a start. So you are guided, and sometimes you say, I am thinking of something. Does the master know what I am thinking? I better be careful what I think. And then you begin to feel master gives you answers occasionally. How did he know? How did master know? Maybe he can read our minds. There's a gradual process that we go on in our relationship. Then comes the period when we feel the master's love and grace is amazing. He's helping us. This is all happening physically. We have not reached the radiant form. Then there's all external experiences we're having. In internal experiences, we begin to try to meditate and think of the master. When we do meditation properly, with love and devotion, we begin to have a conversation with an imaginary master, which we figure out ourselves. Then, are we sure we're talking to the master and not to our mind? So when a perfect living master initiates us, he tells us how to check out. If it's the imaginary master your mind is making up, or it's the real master who initiated you, you're talking to. So we apply the test. And very often in the test, we fail because it was the mind making up the master. But in the test, it fails. That we were just trying to talk in our own imagination and thinking it's the master telling us. He was not telling us because we applied the test. It failed. Then gradually, when we apply the test, it doesn't fail. And we see the masters come now. Sometimes the master hides, and we can feel his presence, and we can hear his voice, but we cannot see him. This experience continues for quite a while. Then the master ultimately appears, and in his radiant form, he appears at a distance, as if he is coming from a distance and goes away. He comes again and goes away. This is because of the nature of our attention. When you try to concentrate attention, it does fluctuate. It goes and comes. It's the attention that is wavering that gives us that kind of experience. After practice, you can see the master anytime you like and have a conversation. And with the safeguard of checking out, it's not the mind, you're able to have a daily continuous relationship. After that, the master is there whether you close your eyes or don't close your eyes. That you can feel his presence. After that, you can see his presence. You can see him inside and outside. You can be driving your car and feel in the corner of your eye he's sitting next to you. And you can say, there he's sitting next to you. So the manifestation of the radiant form of the master comes in these stages. But eventually, he becomes a friend always with you. Then more things happen. Supposing you are under attack by somebody, and we say, Master, protect me. Till we have reached the stage that we have manifested the radiant form, protection is just a thought, a belief in our head. Master has protected me. But after the radiant form has come, Master steps in front of you. And he says, no, nobody can touch him. It's a great experience. There's a power manifesting as a human being in a physical manifestation, and you can see that the Master protects. When you are a friend, he is on your side. And supposing you are doing Master's work, supposing he gives you some seva, some service to do, that you do it for me, and you go to perform that action, you'll see Master gets right inside you, you feel your body and the Master's body is the same. These experiences begin to come automatically, the greater your progress is. So radiant form, once it is developed, the Master is doing all these things. We discover at the end that all the steps that we have gone through were done by the grace of the Master. Because just by trying to push with your own mind, you cannot create any of these experiences. So it's the Master's love and pull that creates all these gradual experiences for us. I have been initiated by a perfect living Master who named his successor. The successor doesn't come often, so I am enjoying this seminar very much. I believe you may also be a perfect living master. Was I hoodwinked by the other perfect living master, or is this a Kabir Nanak kind of deal? First of all, I should clarify, I am no master. I don't look like one. I don't behave like one. So don't make that mistake. I am just a disciple of the great master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh. And what I am doing, sharing my experiences with you, is my seva, my service to my master. You think I am doing it for you? I am a very selfish person. I am doing it as my own seva for my master. And what happens? What you get, you're getting with his power. I can guarantee you everything that you're getting with me, my friendship with you. What is the power behind this is great master. I see it working. Therefore, so don't put me in that category of your perfect living master and the successor who comes or doesn't come. But if you are enjoying this seminar, I am very happy about it, and all the credit goes to my master. So, but I am happy that you get it, and if your own successor of your master doesn't come, it doesn't matter, because you are not initiated by the successor. You are initiated by the master. Do not think that this is a kingdom where a son inherits the father's kingdom and becomes a king. Masters come on their own authority for their own souls, their own marked souls. The masters come for them. It's not a succession that matters at all. If there are successors of masters, they come for their own souls. Of course, if you are believing in a master and go to his headquarters or go to his dera or ashram, and you are happy to go there because your master was there, that's wonderful. But your master is your master. And there is no need to switch loyalties to a successor because your master died. Because master will never die. If a perfect living master initiated you, he never dies and remains your master forever. Not only remains your master for the rest of your life, he'll remain your master even if you're in the astral or causal plane for a long time. The same master will be with you. So, but enjoy the seminar anyway. A well-known master, Baba Fakirchan, says that the physical form is not aware of miracles ascribed to him. He says it is all mind. Please comment. I had a good chance to meet Baba Fakirchan many times. He happened to be our neighbor in Hoshiarpur city in Punjab. And that was where his dera was. And he followed another route of succession from Swamiji of Agra. And he was teaching the same path of the masters that great master was teaching, the other masters were teaching. And I loved his teaching. I used to sometimes meet him privately. He was a good friend of my father, by the way. And so we were meeting frequently. And he had two good reasons to make a statement that masters really don't know anything. It's all in the mind of the disciple when he sees miracles. And he, in a couple of his discourses, has actually said that during the war, where the Indian army was also participating in the war in the Middle East, he was working in a base post office in the war, advanced post office, I think, in the war. And three of his disciples were in the advanced section where actual battle was going on. One day, those three advanced satsankis of his, they were outnumbered by the enemy and ambushed by the enemy, and enemy was on four sides of them. And they knew they were going to be killed because everywhere they looked, the enemy was all there. So they all three sat together and they prayed to their master Baba Fakirchan. And they said, Babaji, we have been ambushed and we are going to die today. We want your blessings that you will take us to Sachkhand and that we will not die like ordinary people. All three of them saw Baba Fakirchan in front of them. And he came and he said, no, you won't die. Your time is not yet. There is a bush behind this, where you are sitting in the camp. Behind that tent, there is a bush. You remove the bush. Underneath that, there's a tunnel. If you go through the tunnel, it will come out behind the enemy lines and you will escape. They removed the bush and they saw there was a tunnel, exactly like Baba forkirchan had told them, and he disappeared after telling them. And then they went through that and came out and were saved. They ran to the base post office where the Baba forkirchan was working and said, Babaji, thank you for saving us. He said, what? I never saved you. They said, we saw you. You saved us. He said, no, it must be something in your mind. It must be inside you. Babaji, don't play these tricks with us, because we know you saved us. We saw you. We would never have known. Our mind would never have known that there is a way out and we could escape. He said, tell you the truth. He told them, tell you the truth. I was myself so frightened when the shells were falling outside my camp. I was so afraid, how could I save you? And this story spread like wildfire. And he himself mentioned this story a couple of times. So people say that Baba forkirchan was the only honest mystic, the only honest master, who at least declared the master know nothing. And it's only everything is in the head of the mind of the disciple. Now, I know that Baba forkirchan knew everything. We had so many conversations with him. He was a regular perfect living master. And therefore, what happened? What is this story then all about? The story is that too many people were not meditating. They thought they could blindly follow a human being as a master and get everything. Master was insisting that truth lies inside, and they were trying to follow outside. So he took this ploy, a very simple ploy, to tell them, outside master knows nothing. Go inside and find the inside master is helping you. Now, did he tell a lie? No. He told the truth, because the real master is inside. The real master, when you get initiated, is actually inside you. What about the human being outside who initiates you? He's a reflection of the inner master outside. The real master who really takes us to such current is inside us, not outside. The outside is coming because we are not inside. Supposing there was a way that we could always go in and see who is our master, we won't see outside master. We would only see the inside master. So therefore, the truth is that our master is really inside, and this reflection is outside because we can't see inside. And he functions outside exactly like he functions inside. Therefore, Baba forkirchan's main idea of emphasizing this was that don't just follow a person outside, do what he says, which is to go inside and find the real master inside, find the radiant form of the master inside. So that is why there's a book, a biography of Baba forkirchan. The title is The Unknowing Saint. The saint who never knew, who said, I didn't know anything. Incidentally, his son also took over as the gaddi, and he claimed he knew everything. So they said, your father used to say he knows nothing. He says, my father was too humble. I am not. I know everything. Do you find that older people have a harder time learning to meditate than younger people? I can't make a general rule like this. Some older people are very good at meditating. They have more time. They are less distracted. But I do know that meditation as an exercise, meditation as an ability to sit quietly in your body with good health and to concentrate your attention, in that case a younger age is an advantage. I do feel that the earlier one can start meditation, the greater efficiency will be there in that meditation, because health does make a difference. When you get old, you have sickness, your knees are hurting, you can't sit properly, You don't know what time you'll have to run to number 1. I mean, these are things that really come in the way of regular good meditation. Therefore, to that extent, the younger people have an advantage. And I always advise young people, start as early as you can. Don't postpone. Don't postpone meditation. The best results you will get when you are still young and strong and healthy and can get all these things done. So therefore, there's a certain advantage. But on the other hand, very senior people have more time for meditation. And that is their advantage. So I cannot generalize this, that always the younger people will have an advantage. They have their own advantage, older people have their own advantage. Do we experience pain or suffering on the astral plane? How do we feel it without a physical body? We do not suffer pain or pleasure on our bodies at all, not even here. When we have pain on our body, it's the astral body suffering, not this body. Physical body does not suffer pain or pleasure. You can take the awareness out by anesthesia, by putting your attention away, there's no pain. You can use acupuncture, have no pain. You can just shift the attention away. The body by itself does not have any pain or pleasure or any other sensation. The sense perceptions are all built into the astral self. Therefore, whether we have pain or pleasure here or in the astral self, they are always on the astral self. That's where the sense perceptions are. So that is why we don't need this body for pain and pleasure. We need the astral self, the sense perceptions, to have pain and pleasure. How similar is Sant to Buddhism? Very similar. Buddha said that the truth is inside. Sant Mat says the truth is inside. Very similar. Buddha said that everything that we see here comes out of nothingness. That nothingness is not shunya, what he calls shunya, is not emptiness, it is nothingness. Nothingness means nothing has been manifested. All that can ever be manifested is included in the shunya or the zero or nothingness. So he gives an example of how we find that actual creations do take place out of nothingness. When these creations of the worlds, physical and astral, they dissolve back into nothingness, into shunya. And from there they all come back again. So he was right in the description of what is happening here with whatever is explained in Sant Mat teachings also. Buddha also felt that the truth lies within and running outside does not help us, which is also true. The Sant Mat said the same thing. Buddha also said that meditation helps us to discover ourselves and attain the state of nirvana, or to go beyond life and birth. And Sant Mat says the same thing. So many similarities between Buddhism and Sant Mat. What place does shamanism have in your opinion? In my opinion, the shamans have a vision. They have a vision which has been developed, and they can see things which is beyond our physical vision. Sometimes it is a vision because we can see, but we don't have to see because we don't know how to see, and it's actually here, even physical vision. An example was given of shamanic vision, where they said on an island there were people living, and they had never seen a ship. And when the ships came at a distance, they couldn't see anything because they never knew what a ship is. But a shaman there could see. He said, there is some new form of thing coming, and it's a ship. And when it came, he could show others, these are ships. So he was considered to be shaman because he had that vision. It did not necessarily mean that he had to show some supernatural sights. He could show that which we neglect to see, which our sense perception don't see, but when he points out, we can see. So shamanic journeys have given wonderful experiences to people, and they follow several shamans. Shamans themselves are of several categories, and some just deal with an external thing, some deal with a little more, some deal with the astral plane, and some go a little higher. So shamanism is people who have practiced that or gone to shamans, they have some kind of a head start because they know things are all inside and coming from our perception. Have you been to Sachkhand? Have you seen Radha Swami? How many of your followers been to Sachkhand? Can I? Well, let me tell you something. I am a follower of this master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh. He initiated me and he promised certain things, and he has kept his promise. He told me not to share any personal experiences except what he says he will allow for me to share. It's a fair enough bargain. He gave me so much, I can only share what he authorizes me to share. I am sorry to say, unfortunately, he does not want me to give an answer to this question. So, all I can say indirectly, and very indirectly I can say that whatever he promised, he delivered. And I am very happy for that. I have no doubt about it. He convinced me to the hilt. He was a perfect living master. Now, whatever these statements mean, you can take it at their face value. But more than that, I cannot say about my own experience how far I went or what I saw. So far as Radha Swami is concerned, Radha Swami is merely a name given to a movement that started in Agra, and Seth Shivdyal Singh, who we affectionately call Swamiji. Swamiji taught Sant Mat, the same Sant Mat we have learned from all other great masters. He did not teach anything different. And what he taught us was identical to what we are talking about, except when his wife's name was Radha, and he was called Swamiji, so a lot of people began to think that Radha Swami is to pay respect to the husband and wife, Swamiji and his wife Radha. Radha was her name. And he clarified. He says, if you say Radha Swami, please do not take these as my name and my wife's name. And in one of the quotes that I quote him, he says, Radha ad surat ka naam, Swami ad purush tum jaan. That means think that the primordial soul, from where the soul started, call that soul as Radha. And the Purush, the Sat Purush, who created all this, should be called the Swami. Therefore, when you say Radha Swami, do not refer to me or my wife. Refer to the ultimate reality. That's how we explained. So therefore, Radha Swami began to be used for that. Then one of his disciples, whom he named to carry on his work, he said, I want to use these words, Radha Swami. Swamiji told him, my mat, my path was Sant Mat. But if you like to call it Radha Swami, with my interpretation, go ahead. And ever since then, this word Radha Swami became very popular. And in fact, it became almost a greeting. When we used to go to a master, we used to greet each other, Radha Swami. It almost became like a namaste. When you say namaste, what is namaste? Nama sate. You are saluting the truth. Namaste means nama sate, that you are saluting the truth. Radha Swami, we are saluting as a soul the ultimate Satpurush. So the meaning was only a salutation. So, but later on more things developed and people began to fight over words, and they fought over words like they fight all the time. Like we fight over scriptures, we fight over quotations, and they began to fight what words they mean. And the current thinking is that the highest form of awareness that you can have, which the successor of Swamiji, one Rai Saligram, who was the Postmaster General of UP, which he said that there are regions where Satpurush can also have excellent experiences to generate all the experiences below. After all, the Creator, when the Creator creates all these levels of experiences of these worlds around, where does he go for his lab, which is his research lab, that he has to go and say, this is the kind of world I can create. So, Rai Saligram, the successor, he said that there are 3 regions, even beyond Sachkhand, which no soul can go to, but Satpurush can. The totality can experience within itself those 2 regions. And he called them Alakh, Agham, and Anami. And because he named them, it was very easy. The mind loves classification. Mind loves how many stages there are. So when we say first stage, second, third, fourth, fifth is a true home, they say, no, 8th, 3 more. So it becomes a superior belief system. You 8. We can add a few more and make it 10, 11, and make it more superior. But the truth is that the reference to those, Alakh, Agam, Anami, is a reference to, what does they mean, these words? Alakh means it cannot be lakhya, cannot be described or written. Agam means it is beyond knowledge. It cannot be gams or beyond knowledge. Anami means it cannot even be named. They're talking of states of being which are beyond our knowledge, beyond what we can think of. And the ultimate creator, the Satpurush, can go into these regions of experiences of his own in order to pick up everything that is created here from there, which means including darkness. Darkness would not be here if it was not somewhere in his pocket to create. So therefore he has his own regions to create. So the current belief, because they put the categories from 5 levels of consciousness to 8 levels, they said the 8th one, the Anami, would be the highest, and we can call it the Radha Swami. So there are always controversies about words and use of words. It's not important to run after words. These words are not spoken beyond the mind. In the mind there are no words. And therefore, to figure out intellectually what it means will keep you always in the mental realm. All intellect operates in the mind and never takes you to spiritual regions. Therefore, leave the words aside and go with the real thing. Go within and go with the help of a perfect living master beyond the mind. Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize